Cute kangaroo. Cute kangaroo. Cute kangaroo.
Hello everybody, welcome back to another video on Cute Kangaroo, and in today's video I'm going to be showing you all of the books that I've read in August and September, which is 16 in total, and I'm really excited to just show you guys all the books I've read in these past 2 months, so let's just get right into it. So the first book I read in August is Finale, which is the last book in the Caraval trilogy, and I think this one might be my favorite in the Caraval trilogy because it has both of the Dragna sisters' point of view, and not only that, but just there was a lot of action in this one and a lot of things going on, and I just loved it so much. Even though I'm a little late, I still love Stephanie Garber, her books, and this series. So the second book I read in August was Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber, and you cannot read the Caraval trilogy without then reading Once Upon a Broken Heart because it just doesn't make sense. But this series is also amazing. Like, Stephanie Garber, her writing is so amazing. Her characters, the world building, like how she writes, I think I already said that, but it's fine, but because I just love her so much, and I can't believe I'm just now reading these because they're absolute perfection. But yes, I totally recommend you go read Once Upon a Broken Heart. You should read Caraval first. You don't have to, but I did. I recommend reading it first, but you don't have to because she wrote it so that you can read this one and it'll still make sense. But you will get some spoilers for the ending of the Caraval series and just the Caraval series in general. But still, love this book. I totally recommend you go read it. The next book we have is The Ballad of Never After, which is the third book in the Once Upon a Broken Heart trilogy. And this one has more romance than the first one, which is Once Upon a Broken Heart. And this one is kind of like enemies to lovers, and this book has action, magic, romance. Like, what more could a girl want? But this book is truly amazing, and I cannot wait for A Curse for True Love to come out, which is the third book in this trilogy, which comes out less than a month from now, October 25th, if I'm not mistaken. But I am so excited for that one to come out, you don't even understand. When that book comes out, I am running to Barnes & Noble's, and if need be, I will fight for the last copy because I cannot wait much longer. And I'm just so excited to read it, and I'm probably gonna cry. I'm not gonna spoil why I would cry because if you haven't read this, I don't want to spoil it for you guys. You guys need to enjoy the magic for yourselves. But yes, I love this book. I love Stephanie Garber, and let's move on to the next one. Next up, we have The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern, and this book is basically about two wizards fighting each other. They're in a challenge, a competition is the word I'm looking for. They're in a competition, and they end up falling in love, and I really like this book. The writing was different because each year was a chapter, but there were multiple chapters within the same year, but there were also multiple characters who had POVs in this book. But all in all, I really like this book, and I recommend you read it. Next, we have A Dance of Thieves by Mary E. Pearson, and this book, at first I was intimidated by its size, but then I ended up loving it, and I'm so glad I stuck through because this book is romance and fantasy. I mean, I think it's fantasy because, I don't know, I would consider it fantasy. But this book was so good. I don't know how to explain the plot, but you just need to trust me on this one. And look at the cover. The cover is so pretty. I mean, some people on Book Talk, I don't know, some people. I saw one person who didn't really like the first book, but they liked the second book, which I'm about to show you now. But I thought this one was good, and I totally recommend that you read this one. So the sixth book I've read in August is Vow of Thieves, which is the second book in the Dance of Thieves duology, and this one is also amazing. I'm not sure if I would say I like it better than the first one. Actually, I might. It's either I like them equally or I like this one better. because this one, it had a lot of more action and a lot of more things going on, and it was just really fun. And this one was suspenseful. You really wanted to keep reading to find out what would happen next in this one. And I don't know, this cover is also really pretty. And I love this. I love this duology, and I still recommend you read this one. So the next book I read in August was Shatter Me. I currently don't have the book because my friend is reading it right now, but I thought this book was pretty good. I personally thought the series got better as it went on because there was more action as it went on. This was just your typical starter book, you know? But this series is basically about a girl who can kill just by touching someone, and it's set in a dystopian world, and the series is about her and her friends trying to destroy the Reestablishment, which is a group of people trying to make the world better and try and fix the world, but basically they're just ruining it because they're making bad decisions and just trying to scare people into following them. And I thought this series was pretty good all in all. But this first book was a little slow. At the beginning of the book, she's in an asylum and she keeps to herself and she doesn't talk to people. So at the beginning, it's kind of like boring. But I feel like it's worth it as you continue reading on. But yeah, that's just my opinion. But let's get on to the next book. So for the last book I read in August, we have Unravel Me, the second book in the Shatter Me series. And I personally think this one was better than the first one because this one had more action. It had Juliet, the main character, trying to learn how to control her powers and make sense of them, and it has fighting and much more action than the first one did. So I personally think that this one is better than the first one. And if you like dystopian, if you like action, if you like a female lead main character, then I think you would like this series. So yeah, let's get on to September. So moving on to my September reads, the first book I read in September is Ignite Me, which is the third book in the Shatter Me series. And the Shatter Me series has 6 books, and from what I've heard, the first 3 were supposed to be the only books in the series, but then later on she decided to write the next 3. So this is the last book in the first part of the series, and I love this cover. It's so colorful and it has flowers, and I just think it's really pretty. But basically this book is where she's fighting the Reestablishment and she's trying to take over Sector 45. I'm kind of glad this author wrote the next 3 books in this series because the ending was good, but I feel like there should have been more, which I'm glad there is more, because I feel like we should have seen what else she does throughout the series with her powers. And I'm trying to explain without spoiling. So yes, this is my thoughts on this book, and I like this book. I thought it was good. Yeah. So the second book I read in September is A Winter's Promise. I took a break from the next 3 in the Shatter Me series because I wanted to read this one. And first of all, look at this cover. Look at how detailed and beautiful this cover is. This cover caught my eye, and then I was like, I need to read this. Look at how pretty this cover is. And this book is basically about a girl. Her name is Ophelia, and she can travel through mirrors, and she can read the past of objects, and she is put into an arranged marriage, so she has to go to the other side of the world. Oh, also, can't forget to mention that the world is shattered into these arcs, which is what they call the floating pieces of land that they live on. And she has to fly she has to fly across the world to go to where her fiance lives. She has to hide from the other people of the court because she can't reveal herself just yet that she's there. And it's kind of hard to explain, but this book is really good, but it's kind of hard to read. It's translated from French, which is not the problem. It's like a really good book, but it's very descriptive with like the setting, if that makes sense. So I feel like this book is not for everyone because of how descriptive and detailed the writing is, because of like how they explain the setting and all of that stuff. But I still thought it was a really great book, and this is a series. The series is called the Mirror Visitor series because the girl can travel through mirrors, so she's a mirror visitor. And this book was really good, and it's also, this series is a slow burn, like slow burn, like a very slow burn, which is fine with me. I love this book. This series is really good. So yes, let's move on to the next book. Next up, we have The Missing of Claire de Lune, which is the second book in the Mirror Visitor series. And you can tell that this is in the same series because look at how pretty the cover is, and it's also so detailed. These covers are so beautiful. I love them so much. So basically, in this book, it's kind of a mystery book because Claire de Lune is where Ophelia was staying in the last book, and people are going missing from there, and it's Ophelia's job to find out where they are and who took them. And there's also a whole nother plot story because there's also this immortal. Each arc has an immortal who, I guess, not owns but leads the arc, and this one is named Farouk. I hope I'm saying that right, but that is the immortal of this arc. And Ophelia becomes this like, I don't know if this is a spoiler. So you know what, I'm just not going to say anything. You should read the series and find out what I'm trying to say for yourself because it's really good. So let's move on. So for the fourth book I've read in September, we have The Memory of Babel, which is the third book in the Mirror Visitor series. And this one, I can't explain to you what it's about without spoiling it, but let me just tell you this. This book is an emotional roller coaster, and there are so many twists and turns in this book, you're gonna get whiplash. But I don't know. This series is really good, really great, and I love this series so much, even though I haven't really finished this series yet, because there's the next book, The Storm of Echoes. I have it right there. It's like that one, that orange one. I'm scared to finish this series because I've heard people say it's kind of a sad ending, and I'm scared to finish it because, like, I don't want it to be a sad ending. I want it to be a happy ending, and also that book it looks pretty long, and I'm kind of intimidated by that, but I will get around to it, but not yet. So after I decided to take a break from the Mirror Visitor series, I wanted to read Better Than the Movies, which is a popular book on Book Talk, and it's a rom-com, and it just looked really cute, and I've heard good things about it, and it's not that long, and this book was fun. And wanna know what I love about this book? At the beginning of every chapter, let me find it so I can show you, there is a quote from a rom-com movie. Look, like right here, we have a quote. I literally love that. It also has a playlist at the back of the book. So I love this book. It was really cute and adorable. I suggest you read it. Basically, it's about a girl. Her name is Liz, and she has a crush on this one boy who just moved back into town, and she teams up with this other boy who she's known all of her life. Mostly all of her life, and he's her neighbor, and they team up together to try to get Liz her crush who just moved back. But then obviously they're like, wait, I kind of like you. So it just turns all around, and I'm not going to tell you how it ends. Obviously, we're not here for spoilers, but I totally suggest you read this book. It was amazing, it was cute, and I loved it. And I'm mostly a fantasy and romantasy girly, but this rom-com was really great, and I really suggest you read it. So let's move on. So for the sixth book I've read in September, we have Restore Me, which is the fourth book in the Shatter Me series and the first book in the second part of the Shatter Me series. I hope that makes sense. But this book was good. It was basically showing how Juliet is managing her job right now and her life with her new role. I'm not gonna say the role, but I think you might already know the role, but I can't say it without spoiling it, so I'm just not gonna go into detail. But yes, this book was good, and it ends on a cliffhanger, so obviously for the 7th book I've read this month, it's gonna be the next one in the series. So now we have Defy Me, which is, like I said, the next book in the series, and oh my goodness, so much happens in this book. Like, this is another emotional roller coaster. Like, so much happened. And this book isn't even that big. But so many things happened. Like, so many plot twists. And, yeah. I'm just gonna leave it at that. So let's just move on to the next book. So for the last book that's gonna wrap up this video, we have Imagine Me, the last book in the Shatter Me series. And let me just show you guys this cover. It is so pretty. Look at it. It's so pretty. I love it. But this book was also a roller coaster. So many plot twists. Like I don't know what to say. A lot happened. There was a lot to unpack in this book. But all in all, I think the Shatter Me series is great. I recommend it if you like dystopian, romance, all of that stuff, action. But yes, I enjoyed this series. I thought it was good. And yeah, that's basically all I have to say. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope some of you guys saw some books that you're interested in reading, and if you do read them, let me know, because I would love to hear that you took some recommendations from me. But that's all I have for today. I hope you guys have a wonderful day or night, and make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye!